Hello there, beautiful fiery Sagittarius. It is time for a reading for you for September 2022. I have been out of the loop for way too long. Crazy year for me. Not so great, but I just know it's going to be really amazing from now on because I'm going to get my act together. And in my life, I don't know if you guys find this, but it's always about motivation and attitude. And if I do all the things I need to do and don't make any stupid choices like I did last year, everything's going to be great. Now, in spite of the fact that I had a ridiculous boyfriend scenario that I will, never let happen to me again. Dumb. And trust me, I paid for that little mistake. In spite of that, I did move and do 2 major moves, and I got my family to a place that is really wonderful, and I'm so happy to be here. And now I've got space to do recording and whatever I want. So things are looking up, and I hope they are looking up for you too. I also am a fire sign Aries, if you don't know me already, so I am very gung-ho on doing a fire sign reading. So let's get into it. September. We're starting out with some good luck here, which is a wonderful way to start a reading. Let's be honest. This card keeps popping up for everybody. This has not come up in any of my readings yet. Oh, I love this card so much. So much. Okay. So let's see. Ooh, the Fool. We haven't had him yet either, and he's so spectacular. So you've got a nice little bunch of court cards here. We've got the Knight of Cups, we've got the Page of Cups, and we've got the Queen of Swords. So none of those are fire signs, Aries, or not Aries, Sagittarius. See, I'm lumping myself in there with you guys because we're all so fiery. But, you're not represented with a court card here, but, the reading's about you. And I'm guessing you might be like me and have a little element of the Fool in you, which is a wonderful card where the universe is, behind you, has your back as you step off the cliff and take those risks and do all those fiery, fantastic things that Sagittarius loves to do. So let's see where you are. Maybe the stepping off the cliff is with this person, this potential love interest. Knight of Cups, somebody who's in the prime of life. Being a Cups person, he's awfully that, and being a Cups person, he is a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Could be a woman if she's a real brave trailblazer. Typically it's a guy, but it's more about the role than the gender here. So, and it's always been like that with the cards. I am not saying that for political correctness. Believe me, it is just the way the cards have always been. We all have feminine qualities, masculine qualities, and sometimes some of that stuff comes out in the cards. So this fellow is very, very charming. I mean, he speaks the love language. He can, I always say you have to be a little bit careful of this guy because he is so good at talking about love and relationships and romance, and he probably knows your cues about romance, and so he's charming as hell. So do look out if you are thinking of taking the deep dive into a relationship with this fellow. Although it doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He might be the nicest guy in the world. It just depends on which Knight of Cups you're encountering. He can also bring a message of love. It could be not about him at all, but he's just there to represent maybe love is in the works for you. Maybe it's time to open up. Maybe it's time to take a risk. Maybe the risk is just meeting new people and getting yourself out there, or not working so many hours that you don't have time for a social life. So whatever that's about, because with each of you it'll be, slightly different. Then we've also got the Page of Cups. This is typically a child, teenager, or very young adult. So if you are a young adult, then that might be your love interest. Or it might be your child if you're not so young, or it could be your best friend, or something like that. And this card to me always represents somebody, again, it's a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, somebody who's a lot of fun, like really loving and kind and caring and fun and a little bit quirky and often into the arts. It might be somebody who's in drama or, any of the arts really. Very creative person and lots of fun. If it's your child, they need a lot of attention. They're very, very fun, but often very, very intelligent, intuitive, and just a really cool person all the way around. The Queen of Swords. Now, this is next to a card that means fate, basically. Something fated, something that you don't really have a lot of control over. I find that this card tends to be very, very lucky. Unless there is a batch of bad things around it, it tends to be a very lucky card. So the Queen of Swords, she is an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. And she tends to be very cool at times, very practical, doesn't like any BS, cuts through to the chase, can be a very fun person, but still can often be a bit detached. If you want an honest opinion, this is a great person to go to because she will not hold back. Very accomplished, quite intelligent, kind of a mover and a shaker, can get the job done. She really will do all the things you need to do to get the job done. No fooling around. So pretty interesting and good person. So this could be your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, your friend, your sister, whomever it is. These three might be real people in your life. If they're not real people, they can represent concepts. Like this person is, no nonsense. So maybe there's something you have to be really no nonsense about. This is where the court cards get confusing. And a lot of readers hate the court cards for this reason, because it's not always very well defined. So if you're doing a personal reading, you have to kind of figure out who's who in the person's life, and then you can usually figure out what the court cards mean. So sometimes you'll get a really strong sense of it too. But when you're reading for multiple people, you have no idea, so I'm just throwing my ideas out there. So here we have a card that I have not seen in a while. It has not popped up for me in a while, either in private readings or on here. So this card is the Eight of Cups, and you see there's a stack of cups, and there's a cup missing. So this person is going off in search of the missing cup. So is it a good journey? Is it something that you're going after because it's good for you and you want that? Because you are leaving these cups behind. So if this is your family, now I've said this before, if you're a young person and you have your mother and your father and your sisters and your brothers and your family at home, but you're going off to seek your own life, that is a pretty positive concept. But if you are, a mom or a dad with a bunch of kids at home and you're going off to find yourself when you're leaving all your responsibilities behind, that might not be so terrific. So, it's a card to look at and evaluate and see how that applies to you. Or it could mean that there is something, it could be something as simple as something you've always wanted to do. You always wanted to learn to play the piano. You always wanted to learn sign language, whatever it is. And maybe you need to do that. It doesn't necessarily mean leaving everybody in the house and never coming back. It might just mean taking, 2 hours a week to take some lessons so that you're fulfilling that missing cup. I love this card. I think it's a good reminder. It makes us look at things and evaluate our lives a little bit. And this card is a card I've always loved. My mother was a card reader. I've gotten this card, the 6 and 7, almost every reading of my life. And so it's a card I really love. Some people don't like this card because it's all about choices. Sometimes there are all these choices in front of you, and as you can see, they're not all good. What is this thing, an iguana? I think it is an iguana, if I remember. Some kind of lizardy, dragony thing. And this one's a laurel wreath, celebration, happy times, victory, whatever. This one's a head, so maybe that's choosing a person. I don't know what this thing is. Seriously, is it a big mushroom? Is it a sea creature? I'm not so sure. That looks like a castle. Okay, that's a nice one. So whatever, you've got all these choices. Some are great, some are terrible. So you have to decide something, perhaps. And I love it because what could be better than having lots of options, right? It's a great card. And clearly something's in the works, because I have a feeling you're going to be taking some risks. You guys are risk takers. You do some pretty amazing things in this world, Sagittarius. So I think something's going on here with this, the Fool and all these lovely choices, and you're going to find that missing cup, whatever it is. But you have worked very hard, and you are working hard, and trying to improve your skill level on all kinds of counts. And that's very good. And you see, this card represents you looking back into the past, looking at your world, looking beyond your world, looking to the future. This is a card of self-evaluation and great thought about what you're going to do. But we fire signs do not always plan as much as we should. So maybe you're really thinking about things before you just go off, crazily without kind of mapping things out. You know, as much as it might not be always great to be a spontaneous fire sign, because everything doesn't always go our way perfectly, I've watched people over the years who plan and plan and plan and plan, and then sometimes when you spend too much time planning, you never get to the thing. So this is a very nice reading, very positive. There's nothing negative here. Figure out who these people are, and I'm glad to see the Fool is coming up, because this is such an important part of life, to be a little bit free and appreciate your freedom and ability to make choices and not hold yourself back. So I hope something along that line is happening. And if it is, please let me know. I'd love to hear your comments, whether good or bad. And have a wonderful September. And I hope to talk to you again very soon.